Hello, this is Ankit Reddy. Welcome to the .NET course from educators.com, world's best online training tutorial for the learning leading technologies. Today, let's discuss about .NET CLR, CTS, MSIL, and JIT. Initially, we'll talk about CLR. What's CLR stands for? Common Language Runtime. What is this Common Language Runtime? Usually, whatever the language you have taken, either it is .NET or Java, each and every language on runtime will be there. For Java, JRM, Java runtime machine is there. Like so, in .NET we have CLR. CLR stands for Common Language Runtime, and which is the heart of .NET framework. CLR has some tasks to be performed. Those are the garbage collection. Let us start one by one each. Before that, let me list out the CLR features, what it is having, the responsibilities of CLR. One is garbage collection, other one is code access security, and another thing is code verification. And the final thing is IL2 native translation. So CLR is a common language runtime which is the heart of our .NET framework. CLR performs these following tasks. One is a garbage collection. What is this garbage collection? Meaning that whenever we declare a variable after some point of time in your program, just imagine that your program has 1000 lines of code, and after 100 lines of code or 150 lines of code, the declared variable you are not using it at all. So what CLR will do is it will freeze that memory that allocated for that variable, meaning that when we run our .NET application, many objects are created. Garbage collection is a background process which detects the objects which are not in use by the application and frees that memory. So unused memory will get freezed. Unused objects memory will be freezed. What will happen is the memory which is allocated will get released from that unused objects, and the memory will be reutilized for the new variables by this garbage collection. And what is the code access security and code verification? CLR checks whether the code has access rights and is it safe and authenticated to be used. Here what will happen is it will check that whether the code has access rights or not, and is it safe and authenticated. And is it safe and authenticated to be used. So these things will be taken care of code access security under garbage collection. And the final one is IL2 native translation. The main task of CLR is to provide IL code to just-in-time compiler to ensure that code is fully compiled as per the machine specification. IL code to just-in-time. Do not worry about JIT word here. Definitely we'll discuss about JIT as part of this session. So the main task of this CLR is to provide IL code. IL means intermediate language. Again we'll discuss about IL. The IL, another name is MSIL. We'll discuss about MSIL and just-in-time compiler in detail after a bit. So the main task of CLR is to provide IL code to just-in-time compiler to ensure that code is fully compiled as per the machine specification. Hence, a CLR features are this one. One is garbage collection, and second one is code access security, and third one is IL2 native translation. Whatever the code you have given, from that human readable code to IL code, after that IL code to native translation will be taken care of CLR. That's about CLR. Next thing is CTS. CTS stands for Common Type Specification. Let us see what is this Common Type Specification. The name itself having common type, meaning that the type what you are using, type in the sense in .NET or whatever it is, CTS. Data, whatever you are going to store in a programmatical way. Suppose if I wanted to store numbers, I'll be using integer. If I want to store some names, I'll be using strings. So these are of data types. So this integer come under value type, data type, and string will come under a reference type, data type. Reference type, data type. So initial classes, in the initial video sessions, we discussed about .NET Framework supports many of the languages, and once you compile in one language, you can execute the same program in another language. Suppose you have compiled a program in C# language, and then you can execute it in other languages, suppose in a VB.NET. So to make this as common type system ensures that data types defined in two different languages get compiled to a common data type. So as we know that we have many languages supported by .NET. Data types defined in two different languages get compiled to a common data type. This is useful because there may be situations when we want code in one language to be called in other language. This common type system very much useful when we want code in one language to be called in other language. We can see, like, suppose you just imagine that we have a demonstration of CTS by creating some application in C# and VB.NET, and then compare the IL code of both applications. Then we'll come to know that. See here, just remember what I'm talking here. Human readable code will be writing in English. After that IL code will come, then native code will come. This will be the process. This can be readable by human, this can be readable by machine, and this cannot be readable by neither machine nor human. So you have written a C# program and then converted that code into IL. Then after this intermediate language can be converted into native code by using other language. So that's the common type system here. That's about a common type system. A common type, I'm repeating again, a common type system defined is very much useful because there may be situations when we want code in one language to be called in other language. So this CTS ensures that data types defined in two different languages get compiled to a common data type. Next thing, Microsoft Intermediate Language. This MSIL stands for Microsoft Intermediate Language. So let us see some more about Microsoft Intermediate Language. MSIL. Intermediate language. We can call it as a intermediate language as well. So in short, we call it as a IL code also. MSIL code or IL code or a common intermediate language. So during the compile time, the compiler convert the source code into Microsoft Intermediate Language. So initially it will be having human readable code. whatever you write a program, whether it is in English or Chinese, whatever it is, human readable format. Then compiler will come into picture. During the compile time, the compiler convert the source code into Microsoft Intermediate Language. Compiler came in here. Then source code is called human readable. That's called source code. Then it will get converted to IL code or MSIL code. Microsoft Intermediate Language is a CPU independent set of instructions that can be efficiently converted to the native code. So this IL is machine independent. So by this we can tell that MSIL means Intermediate Language is a CPU independent set of instructions that can be efficiently converted to the native code. During the runtime, the common language runtime, just-in-time compiler converts the MSIL code into native code to the operating system. So compiler at the time of compilation, source code to IL. Let me write again. So compiler job is source code to IL code. Then at runtime, CLR job is to convert IL code to native language. So here you can see somewhere else. Yeah. So this will be like this. Any of the code execution. Initially it will be human readable, then intermediate language, then native code. IL code will be coming from compiler. After this, at the time of runtime, you can see this native code. When a compiler produces Microsoft Intermediate Language, it also produces some metadata. This Microsoft Intermediate Language and metadata are contained in a portable executable files. Okay. So let me repeat what I am telling. MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Language, is also called as IL code or also called as Common Intermediate Language. So how it can be created? Compiler will convert this human readable format to intermediate language. Intermediate language is a machine independent language. Compiler job is source code to IL code, and runtime, at the time of runtime, IL code will get converted into native code. The native code is in the sense which can be understood by that operating system. Then next thing is just-in-time compiler. Let us talk about just-in-time compiler. JIT, just-in-time compiler. So what is this just-in-time compiler? It stands for just-in-time compiler. It is the internal compiler of .NET which takes IL code from CLR and executes it to machine-specific instructions. Let us see in detail. So just-in-time, where it will come into the picture is, before MSIL can be executed, it must converted by .NET Framework just-in-time compiler to native code. So which is CPU specific, that run on some computer architecture as the just-in-time compiler. We have three types of compilers, just-in-time compilers. One is pre-just-in-time compiler, other one is Econo just-in-time compiler, other one is normal just-in-time compiler. There are three types of just-in-time compilers. What and all, see one by one. Pre-just-in-time compiler compiles that complete source code into native code in a single compilation cycle. Into native code in a single compilation cycle. This is done at the time of deployment of the application. Okay, here just remember that it will get convert complete source code into native code. Now when you see this Econo and normal just-in-time compiler, you can understand all these three together. What Econo just-in-time compiler will do is, it will compiles that only those methods that are called at runtime. Only those methods that are called at runtime. So what will happen here, instead of compiling entire source code, here it is compiling only those methods that are called at runtime. However, these methods, these compile methods are removed when they are not required. Understand? Only those methods that are called at runtime will get compiled. Then what is this normal just-in-time compiler? Which will compiles that only those methods that are called at runtime as same as this, but additional feature for this is these methods are compiled the first time they are called and then they are stored in cache. So what is the purpose of, what is the benefit storing in cache is, when you call next time, the same method you are calling means instead of calling it from the server, it will call from the cache. So by this, performance will be increased for your application. So these methods are compiled the first time they are called and then they are stored in the cache. When the same methods are called again, the compiled code from cache is used for execution. Understand? So let us recap what and all we discussed. CLR is a common language runtime and CTS is a common type specification. MSL is Microsoft Intermediate Language and then just-in-time compiler. Let us see this, what's happening. Then we can verify this as a CLR, CTS, MSL and just-in-time compiler we have seen. Let me show you again what and all we discussed here. Common language runtime means it has some features: garbage collection, code access security, IL to native translation. Then CTS is common type system, which is useful that converting one data type in one language to other data type in another language, making that one common data type instead of different common type for the same purpose. Then MSIL, Microsoft Intermediate Language, also called as Intermediate Language and also called as Common Intermediate Language. Then it is machine independent. Compiler Java is source code to IL code, runtime is IL code to native code. Just-in-time compiler, we have three types of compilers: pre-just-in-time compiler, econo just-in-time compiler, and then we have normal just-in-time compiler as well. So pre-just-in-time compiler will be compiling entire source code into native code in a single compilation cycle. But whereas econo just-in-time compiler will be compiling only those methods that are called at runtime. Normal just-in-time compiler is same as econo just-in-time compiler, but when the first time method call, that will get compiled, but when the second time call, it will be getting from the cache. So this is what we discussed in this session. Thank you for watching, and in the next session we'll be discussing about number system and memory units. Thank you.